Good evening, dear Thai, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends. Let us enjoy our breathing, aware of the heat, aware of the Sangha surrounding us, and enjoy being together with the three sounds of the bell. Dear Sangha, how is everyone feeling? Good? Okay. How many of you are new for the first time in this retreat? Okay, that's wonderful. So I see many old familiar faces and it's wonderful to have our new friends coming to join us. As we were chanting and I was listening to my brother and sister chant and myself chanted and seeing the faces of many young people, the children and the teenagers, I feel very happy. Just to be together is enough. But of course we also want to practice together. So today is the first day of the retreat. It's the 10th of July, year 2019, and we are at Blue Cliff. And sitting here is myself, Sister Gioi of the Precept, and sitting next to me is Brother Nguyen. I think his name means powerful vow, and I heard that lately his nickname become Pow Vow. So you can call him Pow Vow maybe. We're very happy to be here and to share the practice with you. I'm just curious for our new friends, what brings you here in this retreat? You can say it out loud. Your daughter, okay. Yes? Okay, your sister. Anything else? Over here? Don't be shy. Just say from your heart. To learn how to practice mindfulness in the family, with the whole family. Wonderful. Yes. Yes, so I guess the title that the organizer or the Sangha put together for this retreat just fits perfectly. Harmony in our home, joy in the world. If you look up there, we also have those phrases for our year. Every year we have a phrase to help us to practice. And this year is harmony in our home, joy in the world. So this is very special theme for this retreat. So for most of us, I guess besides coming here for your family members and also coming here to learn more about the practice, we also want to cultivate some peace and harmony and joy within our heart. So when we come to the monastery like this, it's a chance for us to come back to ourselves and to touch that peace, that harmony, that joy within us. And the word harmony actually means the balance of things. There's a word that come to mind is equilibrium. I think for those who study physics or learn about thermodynamics, it's a balance it's the balance state between the opposite forces in terms of thermal or chemical or pressure or energy. And in the Zen circle, it's actually the balance of everything. It's a balance of our body, it's the balance of our feelings, our perceptions, our mental formations, and our consciousness. And when we reach that balance, then we can touch peace and joy. But when I say that, it doesn't mean we have to reach a perfect balance. Sometimes our body can be in a state of imbalance. Many times it is. But when we have enough compassion, understanding, and peace, we can also accept that imbalanced state in us, and that can bring harmony also. Because when we can accept and when we can love ourselves, then we bring about balance. I don't know if you understand. I find myself when I'm sick, that's when I can restore my balance. Because when I'm not sick, then I'm not aware that, there is some imbalance in myself. But when I get sick, then I get to understand, the imbalance in myself and try to accept, embrace, and make adjustment. So when we can do that, we can bring balance in ourselves, and when we can have harmony in ourselves, we can have harmony in our family, and as a result, we can bring harmony to the world. And the practice of mindfulness is it's a practice of enjoyment. When I first learned the practice, and I struggle very hard, especially during my sitting meditation, I'm fighting with myself. I'm fighting with my feelings, my perceptions, because I expect that I should achieve, some peace or some kind of, joy. So the more I struggle, the more I find myself not at peace. And one time I visit my teacher, our teacher Thai, at his hermitage in Plum Village, France. And he invited me to sit out on the deck, and the deck overlooked a beautiful scenery of France. And I asked Thai about how to practice so that I don't struggle too much and I can receive some peace. And Thai said, well, my dear, you just look at the scenery in front of you. It's just like watching TV. Whatever is happening, you just recognize it, you accept it, you smile to it. That's how you practice. You don't struggle too hard. So that helps me a lot because I realize the practice is not about having to struggle. I think in your life you have enough to struggle. You don't have to come here and try to struggle with your practice. Whether you are beginners or you have been practicing for a while, it's about finding a skillful way to practice so that it's adaptable to you. When you look at the lotus pond, you will see that different stages of leaves are coming up, and soon the buds and the flowers will also come, the lotus flowers. So each one of us is at different stage. Some of us can just be a little pointed leaf that about to open up, and some of us already an open leaf, and some of us is becoming the lotus bud or the lotus flower. So we just start where we are. We don't really have to compare to others, and we just be skillful with ourselves and adapt the practice. And that's the best way for us to practice mindfulness. And this energy of mindfulness is present in each one of us. In the other tradition, like Christianity, we might call it the Holy Spirit. In Buddhism, we call it the Buddha nature. So when we practice, we can touch the Buddha nature within us, whether it's very small or it's bigger. But there is the Buddha nature or the Holy Spirit within each one of us. When we are calm and still and come back to ourselves, come back to our breathing and touching the energy of mindfulness and spirituality within us, we can touch that Buddha nature. So practicing mindfulness, you don't have to be a Buddhist. You could be one coming from any kind of faiths. it's a way of life. So if we can see the practice as a way of life, then we don't have any obstacle to practice. And in Buddhism, we have at least 84,000 Dharma doors. So I guess the practice of mindfulness is just a few of the Dharma doors. So of course you might have learned other practices of Buddhism. So this is also one of the practices. And our main Dharma doors are the practice of mindfulness. And we use different ways to do it. The first is to use the bell. You see the bell here. When we listen, when we hear the bell invited, it is a sound for us to come back to ourselves and to be in touch with ourselves. And we can come back to our breathing. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. In, out. Let us practice that with the sound of the bell. How many of you are feeling more relaxed when you listen to the sound of the bell? Okay. And how many of you feel that you are more tense when you listen to the sound of the bell? Nobody? Wow. You practice very well. I think when I first learning about the practice of listening to the bell, I was just trying to hold my breath. So it's wonderful that you can relax when you hear the bell and just come back to your breathing, aware of the shallowness or the deep, the depths of your breathing. And when we listen to the sound, the bell ringing, we can just gently put down what we are doing, whether we are holding a spoon or we are doing something, holding a cup of tea. We just come back and stop and breathe. You don't have to hold in mid-air in order to breathe. So just be natural, and you can put things down, and then you start to enjoy your breathing. When we hear the bell, we also have a gatha. Listen, listen. This wonderful sounds of the bell brings me back to my true home. So we allow the bell to penetrate into our body and mind, and just to heal our body and mind. So the mindful breathing is a bridge that helps us connect our body and mind together. So it's like the piece of paper. You know, when your body and mind are united, it comes together. So our breathing, our mindful breathing can help us to come back. And we can check in with our body, our feelings, our perceptions, our mental state of mind, and our consciousness to see how we are doing at the moment, and to see if we need to make some adjustments or if we need to take care. Let's say you come back to your breathing and you're aware that you have a certain feeling. For instance, somebody just said something a minute before that and it makes you feel angry. So when you listen to the bell, you can be aware of that energy of anger arises and then accept it. You can just embrace, accept it, and allow it to be until it decides to go away. But we try not to suppress our feelings or anything that come up. We just recognize it, because the more we suppress, then the more it is more difficult for us to handle it, because it will come back stronger the next time. Have you ever had that experience? Yeah. One time I have a solo retreat by myself for 7 days, just to take care of one of my mental formations. And then I decided that, after my 7 days of solo retreat, I will take care of this mental formation for good. It turns out that, it becomes stronger than I could handle, and I just give up. And I just say, okay, now I'm gentle to you. I accept you to be my friends, and I know I have to live with you. So it's like that. Our feelings, our mental formations, we can never suppress it. We can never chase it away. It's there in us. But it's how we live our daily lives, how we consume by our six senses, how we interact with people, how we water our seeds, whether they are negative seeds or positive seeds, that help us to take care of that mental formation. So try to be a friend to whatever comes up. And we allow our breathing to be natural. Just let it be. When we follow our breathing, it means that you just become aware of your breathing. And we try to practice not only with the bell inside the meditation hall or the dining room, we also practice with the outside bell, with the chiming of the clock, with the telephone ringing. They are our chances for us to practice. Now I want to share about another practice. It's about sitting meditation. I want to come down here so you can see, because I don't think you can see me on the chair. So first of all, if you're sitting on a chair, then make sure your 2 feet are touching the floor, and your arms, your hand can rest on your knee or your thigh, and we kind of look sort of straight down. We tuck our chin slightly if you can, and we keep relaxed and straight spinal column. And the best thing is to find the right cushion for yourself. Some like it higher, some like it lower if you're sitting on a cushion. And the most important thing is to have 3 points touching the mat. So it's your bottom touching the cushion, and your 2 knees, they need to touch the floor. But if you cannot touch the floor with your 2 knees, then you can put 2 cushions, very low cushion or a blanket or a towel on your 2 knees so that they can touch the floor. And you can do half a lotus, which is bringing 1 foot up, or you can do a full lotus if you're that flexible, and sit. And if you find that there's imbalance, when you sit, it's not a straight posture, then you can put something under one of the knee, so you feel a balance. And we try to sit just 1/3 of our, in front of 1/3 of our cushion, because if we sit way back, then we might lean backward. If we sit too forward, we might, fall asleep. So try to have some. And if you do feel like you're falling asleep, then it's best to keep your eyes open and try not to close. Otherwise, we will hear musical sound in the meditation hall. So when you sit, you can just close your eyes or half closed and come back to your breathing. you can put your hands on your lap or on your knee if you feel more comfortable. And just come back to your breathing in and out. And for those who are new to practicing sitting meditation, you might feel pain or numbness, and it's okay for you to gently unfold your legs and give them a good massage, and then put them back in their position for sitting meditation. So don't try too hard, don't struggle during your sitting. It should be enjoyable. When we sit, we just allow whatever comes to be, as I shared before, and we just recognize it. If it's a feelings, a perception, or something come up, or pain in our body, we just say, hello, I know you're there, and I'm sending my mindfulness energy to embrace you. And we can do it with tenderness. We don't have to struggle. So for sitting meditation, we like to invite everyone to come to the hall at least 10 or 15 minutes before the session begins, so that everyone feel peaceful. So we try not to disturb the energy of peacefulness. And please turn off your cell phones when you are in the meditation hall, so that we can respect the quietness in the hall. So let us enjoy the sound of the bell. Come back to our breathing. Now I'd like to invite my brother Powerful Vow, to continue the sharing.
Thank you, sister. Dear respected Thai, dear friends, it's very nice to be sitting here with you. I'm a little nervous, but it should be okay. So I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you a few of our basic practices that we do here in Blue Cliff Monastery. The first one that I would like to share is the practice of mindful walking. So all of us, we walk all the time, but usually it's more like running. Our body is here, but our mind is elsewhere. Maybe already at the destination, or maybe we are caught in our thinking, our projects, our worries, or what is the food tonight's going to be, what's breakfast going to be like while we're walking. So when we do that, we're not exactly walking with our feet, we are walking with our head. We don't know that we are walking. So the practice of mindful walking is to walk just for the sake of walking. So we practice to know that we are walking while we walk, just for the joy of the walking, that's all. So while we are here, we can practice walking meditation wherever we go. And the way to do this is we bring our awareness to the sole of our feet as they touch the ground. And we can also harmonize that awareness with our breathing. So maybe I will demonstrate. So as we breathe in, as we breathe in, we may take 2 or 3 steps. As we breathe out, we may take 3 or 4 steps, depending on what our lungs need. So we listen to our lungs. Some of us, usually the out breath is longer than the in breath, and that's normal for everybody. So my hand will demonstrate breathing in and breathing out. So in, out, 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 out. In, out, 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 out. Or you can be creative. You can think of other phrases to help you with your practice. Our teacher likes to use the terms, I have arrived, I am home. I have arrived. I have arrived, arrived, arrived. I am home, 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 home. I have arrived, arrived, arrived. I am home, 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 home. Our home is not exactly in Manhattan or Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Our true home is where our body and mind is together, and that is here and now. So we practice to bring our mind back to our body wherever we go. We can also think of other words: peace, 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 joy, 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 etc. We can be creative. Anytime during the walk, if there's thoughts or feelings arises, we simply recognize it. We can say hello to it. Hello, thinking, I know you're there, but I will come back to my breathing and my steps. So we don't need to be judgmental with ourselves. We can be gentle with ourselves. It's okay for the thought or the feeling to arise. I have them arise also all the time. But the practice is to recognize them. So that's all. And we walk in such a way that we don't need to struggle or to strive to achieve anything. We walk in a relaxing way. We can smile as we walk. And we walk in such a way that peace, joy, and freedom is possible every step. When we walk like that, every step can nourish us, can heal us. This is very simple happiness. So whether we walk from our room to the restroom, to the dining hall, or to this meditation hall, we can practice mindful walking. There is no need to rush or hurry to get there fast. Whether you walk fast or slow, you're going to get there anyway. So why not enjoy every step? But there is one little trick that I like to do, which is to allow myself extra time in advance. So that way I can really enjoy my steps and take my time. I don't need to rush to get there. Many people say outside time is money, so we have to rush. But here we say time is life. So when we rush, when we hurry, we missed out many wonderful things. We miss out the wonderful blue sky, the green grass, the green trees, the bird songs. But when we are able to walk in mindfulness, relaxingly, every step helps us to recognize the wonderful nature that is around us. So while we're here, I'd like to invite all of you to practice walking meditation, not only when we practice as a whole community, but as soon as you get up from these mats and chairs, you start practice walking meditation right away. So we don't practice only when we are in this meditation hall. When we leave this meditation hall, you enter another meditation hall. It's meditation hall of life. So everything we do is a practice of mindfulness. We also have an opportunity to walk with the whole community in nature every morning after the morning sitting meditation. It's a very powerful way, and I find it very nourishing when we walk together as a whole community, because not only we benefit from our own mindfulness energy that we generate, but we also benefit from the collective energy of the whole community. So when we walk with the whole community, we can keep silence, not only outside, inside our head as well. So we stop the talking in here, and we walk at the same pace as the whole community, not too fast, not too slow, especially not too slow, because you're going to create traffic jam, and we don't want that. So we kind of flow as a river. We don't try to leave too much gap in between. And when we walk in nature, from time to time, we will stop to appreciate the nature, beautiful nature around our monastery. These are really wonderful elements that can help heal us and nourish us. And we really need this. And it's only possible when we are mindful. And we don't need to make effort to enjoy the beauty of nature. Just like when you sit and watch the sunrise or the sunset, you simply just enjoy it. And don't worry if you're not able to follow your breathing or your steps. It's totally fine. Just enjoy the walking. Let the whole community embrace you. And to know whether your walking is successful or not is whether you enjoy it or not. That's all. It's very simple. So I wonder how many of you in the past have injured your leg, your foot, or hurt your foot. Please raise your hand. That's a lot, huh? Oh, wow. And did you remember when you hurt your foot? Did you feel a yearning for having good legs to be able to walk again? Yeah? Yeah, me too. Yeah, but now you have good legs, right? So let's enjoy it. Let's walk to celebrate our good legs. Several months ago, I had a small ski accident, and I hurt my right knee. And I was on a crutch for several days. I really missed walking meditation. And as soon as I was able to walk again, I enjoyed it so much. Really enjoy it. And now my legs is much better. I'm able to walk, and I try not to take them for granted. So it's very important for us when we recognize this, for us having good conditions in our legs. Let's celebrate our good legs by walking mindfully and joyfully. We can walk also for those who are not able to walk, those who are in a wheelchair. Our teacher right now, he's in a wheelchair. We can walk for him also. And he would be very happy if he knows that all of us are walking in mindfulness. So the next practice I would like to share with you is my favorite practice, mindful eating. So we eat not only to nourish our body, but we practice mindful eating to nourish our mind as well. But at home or at work, normally when we eat, we talk at the same time, right? Or we playing with our smartphone, or read something, or thinking about projects, this and that, worries, all this. And we're not really eating our food. We are eating our projects. We're eating our worries, our anxieties. That's what we're eating. In fact, we don't even know what we are eating. So when we are here, we train ourselves to be aware of what we are eating. So, and the way to do that, we have to be fully present for the food in front of us. When we eat, we chew the food slowly, carefully, until the food becomes liquid, and then we can swallow it. And try to feel the texture, the smell, the taste, what it's like. Try to feel it fully, and I guarantee the food is much more delicious. Even if it's just a piece of plain bread, because you are eating your bread, you're not eating your project. And the monastics here are trained. When we were novices, we were trained to chew our food at least 30 times before we swallow the food. If you like to challenge yourself, please feel free to do that. And also, as we are chewing our food, we don't need to prepare another spoon ready. So we put our spoon and fork down and simply focus fully in what is in our mouth and enjoy the whole time of eating. When we eat like that, there is joy, there is peace, there is happiness. And from time to time, we can also stop eating and look up and look at our friends and appreciate their presence. And just to be thankful that we have friends to eat with. Yeah. Here at our monastery, we offer 3 vegan meals a day. And knowing that, we can really enjoy the fact that we are not contributing to slaughtering of animals. That can bring you a lot of joy as well. And our meals here during the retreat, there's some protocols that will help us enjoy our food more fully. So for lunch, we first go and serve our food, and then we go to our seat and we wait for everybody to be seated. And a monastic will invite 3 sounds of the bell, and 5 contemplations before eating will be read out loud. And then we can enjoy eating in silence for about 20 minutes. And during this time, we invite everybody to remain seated, not get up and take more food or talk. So if we keep silence and also remain seated, this will help support the collective energy that is very peaceful. And then after 20 minutes, you will hear 2 sounds of the bell. After that, you may have a conversation with your friends. You may get up and serve seconds, or you may go and wash your dishes. So that is for lunch. For breakfast and dinner, a little bit different. You can start serving right away and go to your seat and start eating, but in silence, and remain seated for 20 minutes until you hear 2 bells. So that is for this retreat. Oh, and when you go to wash your dishes, we can also enjoy washing dishes in mindfulness and in silence. Yeah. Some of you may not be used to eating in silence, and at first maybe you feel it a little bit strange, but that's very normal. After a while you get used to it. You really enjoy eating in silence. It's very pleasant. And since there are so many of us, it's normal that we're going to have queue. It's going to be a long line. So as we wait in the queue, instead of getting frustrated when it's going to be my turn, we can simply just take that moment to enjoy our breathing and relax our body. We can even smile. So there is no waiting time at all. And before serving your food, take a moment to recognize that we are very fortunate that we have food to eat and that we have friends to eat the food with, because there are many people out there who don't have food to eat, who are hungry and are without friends or family. But we have these conditions, and we can give rise to the feeling of gratitude, and at the same time give rise to the feeling of compassion for those who were not as fortunate as us. As we serve our food, we can serve just enough for us to be able to finish all the food so that we don't have to throw away or waste the food. Usually our eyes are bigger than our stomach. So we train to really listen to our stomach, not our eyes. The food looks delicious, I know, but we can be moderate because there's always a second chance to go and serve seconds. There's plenty of food for everybody. And when we wait at the serving table, at our table, for everybody to be seated, we don't have to wait and be frustrated. It takes so long when the food's gonna go cold, this and that. So we simply can enjoy breathing in and out. We can relax our body. Or if you like, you take a moment to look at the food in front of you and contemplate what are the conditions that come about to form the food in front of us. The sunshine, the rain, the earthworm, the soil, the love and care of the people who harvest and cook the food. All these conditions come together, and we will see that the whole cosmos come together to support our existence. And that will bring up in us the feeling of gratitude. And the next and the last practice I would like to share with you is the practice of working meditation. So while we're here in the retreat, all of us will have an opportunity to participate in the maintenance and the care of our practice center. So each of you is already assigned a Dharma family, and each Dharma family has a specific task to help out in the monastery, whether it is cutting vegetables or setting up meditation halls or cleaning the restrooms or cleaning the tea table, etc. So all these are opportunities for us to practice as well. And it's much more fun when we practice together as a whole family. It brings about a lot of joy and a feeling of lightness. We can be aware of our breathing during the time of working, and we can also be aware of the activity that we are doing. And it's also helpful for us to limit our talking during the time of working, because if we are chatting with our friends while we are cutting a carrot or doing other things, we may get lost in our conversation, and we're not with our carrot, we're not with our knife, we are not with what we are doing, our minds elsewhere. So it's useful, and when we work in silence, it can generate a very pleasant atmosphere, and you try it, it's very nice, and we don't need to rush. I show you an example of what happened when we are not mindful, when we're cutting some vegetables or carrot. You see this? This is the result of not being mindful. The other day I was cutting fruit and suddenly I cut my finger. So this is an example of what not to do. Okay? So this is what happened, and you don't want that to happen to you. Not very mindful. From time to time, we can stop and we can just bring our mind back to our body and just investigate, just to feel, am I being tense? If I am, then relax, smile, breathe, and then suddenly you feel more refreshed, more renewed, and you can continue to work in a light spirit. We don't need to hurry to get as much work done as possible, as quickly as possible. This is the practice center, So nobody is going to come and judge you. We are not military, so don't worry. We don't evaluate on how much you get the work done. And our teachers say the most important thing that we can contribute to the community is not how fast you do the work or how much you do, but the energy of mindfulness that you generate while working. So don't worry if you cannot get the work done. The work coordinators will worry about it, not you. Some of us have this habit to hurry, to rush, get things done, in order to relax, be happy, and have tea later. But the practice here is how each and every moment while we're working, we can feel joy and happiness right away. It's not like we try to finish in order to achieve something. No, we enjoy every moment. And these habit energies of rushing, of trying to control things, or trying to be perfect in everything we do, some of us have that. I do, for sure. And working meditation is an opportunity for us to recognize these habit energies, because they might have been transmitted to us from our parents, from our grandparents, or society. So when we work and we find ourselves rushing or getting pulled away by these habit energies, we just recognize it. Hello, rushing, I know you're there, thank you, but then I'll come back to enjoy my working in a light and enjoyable manner. So this practice, I hope that you can bring back home to your workplace, to your home, whether you are working in front of a computer or preparing dinner for your family. You can always incorporate the practice of mindfulness into your everyday life, whatever you are doing. And okay, so my sister reminded me, so I will wrap up very soon. I just want to give one example. When I was in Plum Village, France, I remember there was a lay friend who came to our retreat, and at the end of the week, he shared with us that in the past, he used to be a soldier in a military, and cleaning a restroom is a kind of punishment. But when he came to our retreat center, he don't know why he enjoyed cleaning restrooms so much. I hope you have that attitude here as well. And lastly is, this is the season that we have deer ticks, and some of them can carry Lyme disease. So it would be very wise to, before going to bed each night, to check our whole body for ticks, and to check also our children, the whole body. And we can, if possible, try not to lie down on the grass area. And if you wear long pants, you can tuck them into the socks. And but this is not for us to be over anxious or worry about it, but it's a good idea to be cautious. Especially if we are able to remove the tick within 36 hours after the bite, so that help reduce the risk of getting infected with Lyme disease. We have a lot more detailed information in the dining hall of both hamlets about Lyme disease and ticks. So now I will pass the microphone back to my sister to share about the last practice. Thank you.
Dear Sangha, how many of you are ready for bed? We don't want to keep you too long. We know that you have been traveling for a long distance, some of you, so we don't want to hold you up. But there is still one more practice. It's about the practice of noble silence. And that happens at the end of the evening. When we finish all the activities, we start our noble silence at 9 p.m. until after washing your dishes the next morning after breakfast. And this is a very healing practice. It allows us to come back to the silence, to the calmness of the night, and to restore ourselves. So when we walk back to our dormitories, we enjoy every step we take, enjoy our breathing, enjoy the fresh air and the stillness around us. And we try not to have conversation with each other unless it's an emergency. So if there's emergency and you do have to talk on the phone or to your loved ones, then please excuse yourself from your room and talk somewhere else so that your roommates can have a good sleep. Or bring it down to a whisper and only do it if necessary. And when we lie down, we can practice deep relaxation, and you will learn more about the deep relaxation in the next few days. Mostly we come back to our breathing at our belly and just allow the deep in-breath and out-breath to take place until our sleep comes. But sometimes it's hard to sleep at the monastery. I know for many of you, especially those coming from the city where you have all this noise of traffics and everything, and coming here is so quiet, and all you hear is like crickets or frogs making sounds. So it's okay. If you cannot sleep, just close your eyes and follow your breathing. That can also bring some relaxation. And if there are musical notes around your sleeping area and you cannot sleep because of your partner or your friends, then try to get earplugs at the office so that you can get a little bit of sleep. And we hope you enjoy the practice while you're here, and may the best be with your practice. Thank you for your listening.